So this huge streamer, Tectone, has finally put out a statement regarding the protective order put out on him by his ex-girlfriend, Pinkchyu, following accusations of SA and stalking. Now, Tectone in this statement tries to claim that no crimes were committed and that he won't be going to jail, as if that somehow makes what he did okay or not crimes, right? But funny enough, we actually do have copies of the protective order as well as the Firearms Affidavit that is going to prevent Tectone from owning firearms for 10 years, as well as proof of the protective order in which the judges found that Tectone did engage in SA and stalking, in which he has to stay away from Pinkchyu, of course, for 10 years. Now, here is Tectone's statement. Guys, real quick, let me correct some crap I see being said about me. I wasn't convicted of a crime, I wasn't involved in a criminal proceeding, no, I'm not going to freaking jail or facing any criminal punishment. Guys, this was a civil hearing with a significantly lower standard of proof than a criminal proceeding. Give me a bit, I gotta finish a couple more things up and we'll talk after. Appreciate y'all. So this guy is basically saying right here that Pinkchyu did not provide proof, or at least this is what it looks like he's alluding to, significantly lower standard of proof. I don't know what kind of proof this guy wants us to be able to see to come to the conclusion that what he did is absolutely horrific and vile, right? It originally started because Mizkif was the one who ended up coming out with some of these claims, and people were like, oh, well, we can't really trust Mizkif. I don't care what you think about that, because I can trust Mizkif when he links how you can find this information and we can read with our own eyes what happened and see some of the horrific things that this guy was accused of, and that the judges thought was more than enough to not let this man own firearms for 10 years and never contact this woman again for an entire decade. And we have some real rocket scientists in this reply section, kind of like Chibi Reviews, who I recently made a video talking about the fact that he's being accused of scamming his fans because he needed $25,000 to fund a bunch of defamation lawsuits that ended up going nowhere. He basically said, oops guys, I accidentally spent the money, right? So this guy isn't really to be trusted. Now he says, I was watching Legal Mindset's video on this and he covered it very well. Even Legal Mindset agrees what happened makes him sympathetic to you. You aren't a convicted criminal and will not be going to jail. Right now, I am not convinced you are evil or a vile guy after seeing the files reviewed. Then you did not read the files, you dumbass idiot. Don't try to lie and make it seem like you did and there's just nothing in it. It's just a big old nothing burger. There are some pretty awful things in those files. If you think that forcing a woman to give you mouth actions to the point where her lip filler splits apart from her lip, or force her to give you mouth actions while she's laying on her stomach after having a augmentation of her chest, again, you also think that filming these actions, recording them, and then when she's crying, you say you like it when she cries. If you think all of this stuff is not enough to make someone a vile guy, I don't know what to tell you, Chibi, other than the fact that you guys are meant for each other. Even Pinkchyu in the file said you weren't a groomer, which Legal Mindset pointed out. Overall, I reformatted my earlier comment to better outline my thoughts to give better insight. People want a villain and will look at clip notes to form an opinion instead of reading the full files. Bro, the full files go into such explicit detail that if I read them on YouTube, I will get age restricted. This is not a matter of a little exaggeration. This is to the point where the most recent update on the protective order confirms every single thing that this man engaged in stalking and SA. And you have Chibi Goon Reviews over here defending it, essentially saying, well, you're not a, which I don't even know if that was an allegation. And now we also have an update on the Travis County Odyssey portal. Shamu was incorrect about something regarding the court records, where if you ended up typing this in, going to I'm Not a Robot, submitting it, it would tell you that there's no cases matching your search. And the reasons why it would say that is because the case is still pending. So to make it actually appear, you would have to open up your advanced filter options and you'll have to enable all of these options. And now when you go to submit it, it will show you the case, which is right here, C1 CV25005-339 protective order. Status disposed. Now, it's important to note that disposed in regards to a legal case like this does not mean it's like thrown away. It's not thrown in the disposal, right? It means that the case has been closed and a final decision, such as a dismissal or granted final order, has been reached by the court. So I originally also thought when this said disposed, like, oh, Tectone's innocent now. No. That's not what it means. It means that they've reached a final verdict, which is the protective order, the fact that Tectone can't own guns, and the fact that he has been charged basically with SA and stalking to the point where this protective order was filed. Now, if we open this up, we can see a timeline of everything that happened in this trial leading up to yesterday at the time of me editing this, basically saying that the copy of this paperwork was sent to the applicant, DPS, law enforcement of the blank county, right? And we have here the protective order and then the firearms affidavit. Now, again, I highly suggest you guys to try this out yourself. Go read all of these documents, unless if you want to pull a Chibi and just completely talk out of your ass. Please read these documents and read the allegations and come to the conclusion that if you think what Pinkchyu accused him of and what the judges found applicable is somehow not bad, right? Go ahead and do your own research. Now, I skipped the first page of the protective order because, again, it just says Pinkchyu and Tectone's real names and the information and like how they were scheduled to meet up to discuss this protective order. But if you scroll down to where it says F, it says that the protective order finds that there are reasonable grounds to believe the respondent committed one or more of the following offenses against the applicant. And it has a list of all these different crimes. These are crimes, Tectone. There's a reason why they have sections in the penal code. They're crimes. Just because you're not going to jail for it does not mean it's not a crime. The same reason why me pirating a movie does not mean it's not a crime because I don't go to jail because I'm not fined for it. It's still a crime. He was charged with assault under section 22.011 under the penal code and stalking section 42.072 under the penal code. Now, scrolling down to part 4, the conditions and terms of the order say that Tectone is not to commit further acts of family violence against applicant or any member of the applicant's family or household, including acts intended to result in physical harm, bodily injury, assault, or SA, or threats reasonably placing a person in fear of physical harm, bodily injury, assault, or SA. He is also not to communicate in any manner with a person protected by this order or a member of the family or household of a person protected by this order. The court finds good cause exists to prohibit direct communication from the respondent. Tectone is also not to go within 200 yards of Pinkchyu protected by this order, not to go 200 yards of the residence of Pinkchyu. Now, here on section 6, we get to the costs. The court orders the respondent, Tectone, to pay the $16 protective order fee, which is nothing, but they also order the respondent, Tectone, to pay attorney fees of the amount of $15,000. Again, something that Ms. Kiff told us. And again, a lot of you guys were saying, who cares what Ms. Kiff says? He's not to be trusted with all the other stuff going on. He was right. These cases, this document proves he was right. Does that make him innocent in his own allegations? No. That's something that the courts, similar to this, will also have to come to that conclusion. But does it improve his credibility as someone who's telling information regarding some pretty horrific people in the same space as him? Yes. Now, if we scroll down to X, it says suspension of license to carry a handgun. The court finds that the respondent is disqualified from possessing a firearm pursuant to federal law because the applicant and respondent are spouses or former spouses, share a child in common, and/or live together or have lived together in an intimate relationship. This order restrains the respondent from harassing, stalking, or threatening the applicant or child of the applicant. The mental gymnastics that people are going through to try to make Tectone out to be some innocent guy when literally the court has already come to the conclusion that he did these things is insane to me. And the rest of the document just pretty much says that the case is closed now. They're going to go and redact things like the phone numbers and addresses to protect the identity of Pinkchyu, which makes complete sense to me. Again, she's a victim in this situation. she should not be doxxed and have her information that she herself isn't putting out there because she decided to get a protective order against Tectone. This is not some public spectacle that she's wanting money for or views or attention for. She hasn't even posted about this. She's still posting her little thirst trap TikToks and whatnot, which is like whatever, right? Enjoy it if you like that kind of stuff. But she's not out here farming views and clicks and trying to make money off of this. She's trying to protect herself from a pretty horrible person. At the end of the day, Pinkchyu won and Tectone lost. Now here we have the Firearm Affidavit, which once again is basically saying that Tectone is not able to have a weapon or a firearm, anything like that. I understand that Tectone, am prohibited from possessing or receiving firearms under federal law. I, Tectone, do not have any firearms or ammunition in my possession or in my residence. I, Tectone, acknowledge that firearms may not be owned by, loaned to, rented by, or borrowed by myself. I, Tectone, also understand that actual or constructive possession and or receipt of a firearm by a prohibited person is punishable by a term of imprisonment of 5 to 10 years and a fine of not more than $250,000. I swear under the penalty of perjury that all of this information is true and correct. And he signed it on January 27th, 2026. Keep coping, Tectones, Microtone fans, that this guy is somehow innocent in this entire situation and Ms. Kiff is a liar and he's just desperate to make someone else look bad. You're defending a horrible person. Take the L, admit you were wrong, move on. Because that's what we're all doing. Anyone with a brain who can read these documents and understand what's happening has figured out this guy's not great. Pack it up. We're smoking that Tectone pack. You guys can too. Come on, join the club. That's where we're going to wrap the video up, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. Ms. Kiff, if you watched this one, thanks for watching, man. I've been seeing you covering my content. I'm always open to feedback and whatnot. Let me know down below. Either way, guys, peace out. Thank you for watching. Bye.